We have analyzed external control, but now we face the subtle internal trap, the tyranny of feeling good. We are conditioned to believe that life's goal is the continuous, uninterrupted absence of discomfort. This pursuit of constant pleasure is not freedom, it is a gilded cage. The relentless chase for the next dopamine hit makes you weak, predictable, and controllable. True growth is found not in the pursuit of happiness, but in the mastery of necessary pain. This is the philosophy of emotional sovereignty. The historical critique of hedonism is clear. A life dedicated solely to pleasure destroys your capacity for depth. By constantly seeking the pleasant, you lower your tolerance threshold for the neutral and the challenging. The quiet moment becomes unbearable. The challenging task becomes impossible. You become a slave to your environment, always needing the next stimulus to maintain a fragile, artificial comfort. Your defense is recalibration. Accept that the neutral state is the baseline of a rich life. Every step toward mastery is preceded by a growth wall. Frustration, confusion, and the feeling of, I can't do this, are not signs of failure. They are data points indicating you are pushing the boundaries of your current self. Society teaches us to recoil from this pain. The growth philosopher teaches you to lean into it. The pain of the plateau is the necessary fuel for the breakthrough. Your defense is a shift in language. Replace I'm failing with I'm getting feedback. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus taught us to accept all external events as necessary, amor fati. This includes the painful internal reactions to those events. When discomfort arises, loneliness, anxiety, or boredom, the Stoic doesn't react. They simply observe. This pause creates the space between the stimulus and your response. Pain is inevitable. Suffering is your choice, created by your refusal to accept the inevitable. The true test of a sovereign mind is its ability to remain calm in the storm of internal negativity. The deepest trap in the comfort zone is the shadow of self-pity. Self-pity turns a moment of healthy difficulty into a narrative of victimhood. It allows you to externalize blame and justify inaction. Oh, it's too hard for me. The system is against me. This narrative is addictive because it provides a temporary emotional release without requiring effort. Your defense is radical ownership. Recognize the story of the victim, thank it for the comfort it offers, and then choose the hero's path of difficulty. Modern life is a master of distraction. We use noise, content, and scrolling to avoid the terrifying pain of silence. The inability to sit quietly with your own thoughts makes you fundamentally controllable because you constantly need an external source to regulate your mood. Silence is the ultimate accountability partner. It forces you to confront the work you have avoided and the truths you have buried. Your defense is a scheduled time for nothing. Practice being bored. Let your mind wander. This space is where clarity is forged. The true measure of autonomy is not wealth or status, it is the discipline of delay. Can you defer the small pleasure now, the snack, the scroll, the distraction, for the sake of the massive reward later? Manipulators thrive on your need for immediate gratification. They exploit the shortest feedback loop. The ability to endure a moment of wanting is the most direct path to escaping all forms of external control. Every time you choose the long-term goal over the short-term feeling, you are casting a vote for your future freedom. Most people avoid necessary confrontation out of fear of emotional discomfort. They avoid setting healthy boundaries, having the hard conversation, or stating a truth that might cause friction. This avoidance allows toxicity to breed and resentment to build, ultimately leading to a complete loss of control. Conflict is a tool, not a catastrophe. Your defense is to see confrontation as a surgical act of preservation. Approach the difficulty calmly, state your boundary clearly, and accept the immediate discomfort for the long-term health of your relationships and your mind. The ancient practice of voluntary hardship is the ultimate resilience training. Expose yourself to the difficult, take the cold shower, fast for a day, or choose a hard workout when you don't want to. This is not self-punishment. It is a controlled dose of discomfort. It teaches your nervous system that you are in control, not your feelings. You prove to yourself, I can choose pain and still survive. This confidence is impervious to external pressure. Stepping out of the comfort zone is not just a mental trick, it has quantifiable benefits, the dividend of discomfort. When you repeatedly introduce controlled stress, your brain builds cognitive flexibility. You adapt faster. Furthermore, practices like cold exposure trigger the release of HSP, heat shock proteins, which repair cellular damage and boost immunological resilience. Discomfort is a biological signal for your system to get stronger. You are literally training your body and mind to define the previously stressful as normal. This is the biological bedrock of true sovereignty. The moment you become fluent in the language of discomfort, you begin the uncontrollable life. You become immune to threats, demands, and temptations because you no longer fear the feelings that their absence might trigger. You no longer need constant reassurance or external mood management. Your happiness is no longer dependent on the perfect set of external conditions. This is the profound, quiet autonomy of the self-regulated individual. It is the deepest form of freedom. Pain is the currency of the long game. You exchange the momentary sting of discipline for the lasting freedom of achievement. You trade the frustration of learning for the mastery of a skill. You trade the anxiety of self-confrontation for the clarity of self-knowledge. Discipline is not a punishment. It is the highest form of self-love and long-term sovereignty. Embrace the grind, for the grind is where your kingdom is built. The tyranny of feeling good ends when you embrace the dignity of difficulty. Make a sovereign vow, I will not avoid the discomfort necessary for my growth. Which necessary pain are you avoiding right now? The hard conversation, the quiet reflection, or the delayed gratification? Share your commitment to face that discomfort in the comments. Join the community that chooses sovereignty over sedation. We will see you in the next video.